November the 20th, 1987, and the situation in TV land is dangerous. This man is taking over as the new boss of channel number 4. This man hosts a show on channel number 4. This man produces popular, high-rating shows. This man is worried. What will this man think of his show? So he's contacted this man. This man is a TV troubleshooter. Known as Leslie Crowther, he is a man who certainly knows the secret of how to make a show really, really popular. Will this man sack this man or not? View tonight's exciting episode of this show and find out.
Time for the last resort, the show that everybody really likes, even though the ratings are a bit low. That's probably because the computer's on the blink. Ladies and gentlemen, meet your host, the man with the B45, Jonathan Ross.
Hello and welcome to another edition of The Last Resort. What a great show we've got for you tonight. We'll be meeting comic actor Rowan Atkinson, documentary filmmaker Bill Couturié, we have music from avant-garde composer Philip Glass, and hopefully a very intelligent chat with Mr. Melvin Bragg. Before then, let's go and say hello to the hottest, funkiest, tightest band on British television, Steve Naive and the Playboys. Well done, Pete. Good evening, boys.
Good evening, Jonathan.
Good evening,
Sir Michael.
You crawlers. Steve, do you notice we have anyone special in the audience tonight?
Just my beautiful wife.
Not your beautiful wife, Steve. She's here every week. I'm talking about over there, Mr. Leslie Crowther, the king of light entertainment. The king of light something. And Leslie's here tonight. He's going to be watching the show and telling us where we're going wrong. And do you think I'm worried that he's out there watching every move I make, listening to every word I say? Do you think that bothers me?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, you're right. It really does. Anyway, we'll be catching up later and hopefully we won't do too many things wrong. Now, before we get on with the show, I have a letter here, which I think you'd probably like me to read out. It says, Dear Jonathan, just love Last Resort and you too. Could you tell Steve Naive and the Playboys they are brill, and can Steve or you send me a photo of that fantastic, sexy, gorgeous drummer, please? Pete, could you stand up for a second now? Yeah, that's right. Well, we know she couldn't mean him, so we're going to send you a photograph of Buddy Rich, and we hope you like it. Now, critics of The Last Resort have accused us of being too frivolous, trivial, perhaps a little juvenile even. They say that we appeal only to a minority audience. Well, tonight that's all going to change. We're going to deal with some of the bigger issues, the issues that affect all of us. So will you please welcome my first guest, the man who pulls the silliest faces on television, Mr. Rowan Atkinson. Tonight, aren't they? They really are. So, Ryan, you've just come back from Australia.
I have.
I believe. And what were you doing out there? You were touring?
I was touring with the one-man show, the final leg thereof, because we've toured a great deal in England. And we spent 3 months in the West End last year with it. So we thought it was about time to go to Oz, so we went.
And how did it go down?
It was great,
like
actually.
Sort of stuff?
It was great. They're always about 6 years behind in their television exposures, so I'd hardly been on television at all over the last 4 years in Australia, but they seem to have very long memories on the basis of the last tour that we did there 4 years ago. So they came.
So have they seen the Blackadder out there yet?
They've seen the first series of the Blackadder, the Not All That Good series. So but the second and third series have yet to make it there.
So they've got that to look forward to?
They've got that to look forward to, you see.
Now, this is the tour you did in New York as well, isn't it?
Not really. What we did in New York was half the show and half the old show.
And it didn't go down as well in New York, did it?
It didn't go down as well in New York, no. Largely on the basis of a man from the New York Times called Frank Rich, who wasn't all that nice about it. He had the worst night of his life, I think.
And is that important?
And he said so. It is that important. At least it's only important with that one newspaper, really. But the audiences themselves were terrific.
Is there a sort of major difference between, like, the American audience and the English and the Australian audience?
Well, There is, but then it depends what audience you get. I mean, the Broadway audience, to say that the Broadway audience is representative of, you know, America is a mistake. Because obviously, you know, within America, there are lots of different audiences. Because it's like when a lot of people, you know, assume on the basis of my early return from Broadway that there was something wrong with the exporting of the humour. There was something, you know, that the Americans didn't understand about it, when that wasn't actually the case. Because it's very difficult to talk about what is, you know, American humour and what is English humour. I mean, what is English humour?
What is humour, in fact? That's the burning question of today.
Whether I'm representative of English humour, or whether Jim Davidson is representative of English humour, or whether Benny Hill is representative of English humour, because Benny Hill, extraordinary as it may seem, is, you know, probably now the most famous English comedian since Charlie Chaplin.
That's a frightening thought, isn't it?
It's extraordinary. I mean, no one has achieved success abroad more than he has.
And all with one joke as well. That's what's so scary.
Well, I can't comment.
You can't. Now, I know you're heavily into cars. Did you do much driving in Australia?
I did. Well, I stayed on for an extra week at the end of Australia to see the Grand Prix in Adelaide, the Australian Grand Prix, which was last Sunday. And just before the Grand Prix, they have this thing called a celebrity race, in which celebrities drive around in circles in Nissans. And this we did. And it was great, actually. It was tremendous fun. Did you crash?
I know you have a kind of reputation for crashing quite a lot, don't you? No, maybe I'm thinking of Andrew Widgley or someone else.
Somebody else. No, I was fine, except that my car stopped in practice, which is a mistake, because it's practice when you're trying to do the quickest times to get your place on the grid. And I was only 14th on the grid because my car stopped some electrical problem. Oh. I mean, I'm sure it wasn't, because it was a Nissan, but it was actually the first time that I'd come into contact with Australian yobbery.
Well, what would they do?
Because we're pretty good on hooligans here, but I tell you, Australian hooligans are a breed unto themselves. They're really extraordinary. And the problem is, it's what racing drivers always say: if you break down, either stay in the car or wait till someone tows you back to the pits. Whatever you do, don't walk back to the pits in front of the crowd. And they were just amazing. Where's your car, Rowan? You know, you're supposed to drive round, not walk. It was awful, actually. Are you comfortable?
Are you comfortable with that kind of recognition you get in a sort of celebrity race? I can't see you as being someone comfortable with being termed a celebrity and grouped together with other celebrities.
No, not much. It's the fact that there are so many of you together that's the problem. It's this kind of, you know, whatever the collective noun.
Because you did the Royal Excellent Knockout, didn't you?
I did the Royal Excellent Knockout. And again, it was that, I mean, I thought it was, you know, Prince Edward, I thought, did a damn good job in getting it together, but I thought that the concept of this, of, you know, great wadges of celebrities together, literally coachloads of celebrities, when there are 55 of you on this coach and you're all dressed in black tie, and there's Tom Jones and Christopher Reeve and John Travolta, and you're all kind of cooped up in this funny little, you know, this collective noun of celebrities.
What do you talk about? What do you talk about to Tom Jones? I don't know.
Well, that's the trouble. I couldn't think of anything to talk about it.
Do you still get sort of shouted up in the street? I know when you were doing the 9 o'clock news, not 9 o'clock news, people used to call you Rubberface and things like that. Yeah. Which can't have been nice, I would have thought.
No, I got used to it. It's moved on to plasticine face. Largely, we had a headline when we were last going to tour. When I was, for the first time, going to tour in Australia 4 years ago, and there was just this headline in a Sydney newspaper which said "Plasticine face to tour."
That was anyone knew who they meant.
That was the announcement of my impending arrival.
Now, I know you were on stage in The Nerd a while ago, which was a different sort of thing to the one-man show.
Yeah.
But do you have anything planned like that? Do you have anything planned for the future, return to the stage?
Yes. Middle of next year, I'm going to try and do some Chekhov, some plays, some one-act plays by Anton Chekhov. Anton Chekhov, believe it or not, had a funny period.
Chekhov's funny period?
He had a funny period up to the age of 32.
And then he got serious on us, didn't he?
And then he got deadly serious.
He sold out, basically.
But just prior to that, he was fine, and he wrote some very funny, what are basically long sketches. They last about 15, 20 minutes each, and he called them vaudevilles. So we're aiming to do 6 or 7 of these in an evening, and with myself playing a different part in each play. So it's quite an exciting project. It's funny. I mean, the idea is to amuse, but the concept is fairly sort of serious-minded but classical.
So the tour that finished in Australia, then, are you doing any more dates in England, or is it over now?
No, that's it. We recorded an album while we were touring in England earlier this year, so that's coming out at Christmas time. But apart from that, there's...
So they can't go and see you live, but they can buy the record and sit at home in comfort instead.
Exactly. We are planning to tour again in February, just a very small bit in England.
Okay. Well, I look forward to that. Thank you very much indeed. Rubber face, Mr. Rowan Atkinson. Okay. Well, as you probably know, the music world was shattered recently with the news that probably the most original new band for years, the Smiths, had broken up. And needless to say, countless groups were rushing to do their own cover versions and try and cash in on this. Fortunately, we held back. We wouldn't endorse any such blatant rip-offs until we heard that one of our favourite artists had done his own tribute to the Smiths.
And now, Manchester's greatest, biggest, fattest star presents a tribute to the Smiths.
I would go out tonight
by Bernand.
I got a stitch to wear.
You bristled at Meet Is Murder. You sulked at The Queen Is Dead. You weren't too happy about Girlfriend in a Coma.
This charming man.
Now Big Bernie's brought them together in one pool of misery.
I was happy in the haze of a drunken hour.
Yes, they're all here. Panic, Heaven Knows I'm Miserable Now, and many, many more.
I was
All brought together by this charming man, Bernard.
And heaven knows I'm miserable now. Do you really think she'll pull through? Do you really think she'll pull through? Girlfriend in a coma, I know it's serious. Bye-bye, baby, bye-bye.
Yes, a tribute to the Smiths from Bernard Manning.
And that record's not available in the shops, and now that I've heard it, I know why. Okay. Now, how does a relatively unknown documentary filmmaker persuade such stars as Robert De Niro, Martin Sheen, Bruce Springsteen and Kathleen Turner to take part in a low-budget experimental movie? Well, here with the answer, we hope the director of Dear America, Mr. Bill Couturié. I'm still having problems with your name, aren't I? It's Couturié?
Took me years to learn how to pronounce it myself. Yeah, Couturié, that's good enough.
Okay, now the film Dear America, which we're going to look at in a minute, how long did it take you to make?
15 months of actual production, but I'd say, you know, in a sense it took 10, 15 years before I or other people in America could really look at the war and try to figure out what it was all about.
And the actors that got involved, we mentioned some of them, Martin Sheen, there's also Michael J. Fox and many, many others. How did you persuade them? Why did they want to take part? Because they didn't get paid, I believe, is that right?
Oh, they got paid scale, but the money went back to charity.
Oh, the minimum.
Yeah. They did it. I think there's a lot of people in America feel very bad about what, not only what the war meant, but what the guys went through that fought the war. Yeah. And this was a chance to try to tell the story of the war from the point of view of the guys who were actually there. And without politics, without polemics, but just the human story of what it was like to be a kid in a jungle fighting a war you didn't understand.
And the film it's documentary footage, isn't it? It's all actual footage.
Every frame in the film is actual footage from the war or from the period of the war.
With the letters read out by these actors and actresses.
Right.
Well, let's have a look at a clip and then we'll be able to talk about it further.
Great.
It's good stuff.
American casualties in Vietnam, killed and wounded, now exceed 300,000. More than 39,000 killed and more than 258,000 wounded. Here's a report from NBC.
Dear folks, this is your on-the-spot correspondent in the Big Nam reporting.
Hi, honey. I had a hell of a day yesterday.
Dear Sue, thank you for the wingtips. Only one question. Where do I wear them in Vietnam?
I'm sitting down to write of my love for you and the horrors of war.
Actually, I'm writing because I have to, or go out of my mind.
Dear America. But Bill, I feel I've got to ask you. We've had a lot of Vietnam War films recently. There was Hamburger Hill, Platoon, Full Metal Jacket, and there's been some before. Why do you think there's a need for yet another Vietnam War film?
Well, this was started before any of those films came out, so it wasn't really a response to them. And I would just assume that this be sort of the period at the end of the sentence. I think the reason for this picture was because there have been a lot of films from a lot of perspectives, but the one voice that we have not yet heard is the actual voice of the kids who were over there at the time. And again, Home Box Office is the one who came to me wanting to do something on Vietnam. And for a year I told them, forget it. I can't do another film on Vietnam. I'm sick of Vietnam. And it wasn't until I saw this book, Dear America, that had these letters that have not been changed with time. They're not, you know, it's not another interview with yet another Vietnam vet. These are letters you wrote your mom and dad, you wrote your girlfriend, you wrote your brother. And they were so honest and so simple and so heartfelt. And to me, it speaks of war. It's not just about Vietnam. This could be a kid in World War I, in World War II. There's something sort of universal about what it's like to be a kid in combat.
But you say it's an anti-war film, an anti-war but pro-soldier film. Isn't that a contradiction?
I don't think so. 19-year-old boys who are drafted are not the ones whose idea it was to start the war. They're the ones caught in the middle. They're the pawns in the game. And what I think the film is trying to show is the tragedy of being in a war. And again, a big part of the reason that I did the film is that, you know, now in America we have Reagan, we have conflict, you know, we have freedom fighters in Central America, we have people who are thinking that perhaps we should do another little jungle war. I lived through Vietnam and I'm horrified by that thought, as are many Americans. And kids today were babies when Vietnam was going on. They don't know any better. And I wanted to do a film where they could see what it was really like.
But do you think it will reach the people who would go to war, who would be drafted?
We'll see, won't we, Jonathan? I hope so. That's partly why the actors are involved. That's why Springsteen gave us Born in the USA. That's why we got the Stones and all these others, is to try to put together a film that would appeal to a younger audience.
But the more cynical view is that Americans now, American filmmakers, but Americans in general, are trying to justify the Vietnam War by looking at the experience of the vets and saying they had a terrible time, therefore we can feel good about it again.
I think America tended to make the vets the scapegoats for the war. Men came back after a horrible experience over there that they had no part in causing and then got blamed for the failure of it. That doubled the tragedy. I think what is really happening is that we're trying to now, at least what this film is trying to do, is point the blame where it belongs. It's the American public. It's us that sent them to war who are to blame, and if we do it again, we'll be to blame again. It's not the guys who fought it. Yeah. They're just pawns in the game.
Well, I hope it works out. Thank you very much, Bill Couturié.
Thank you.
Personally, I think the show's been going okay so far. We've had some Oxbridge humour at the beginning, we had a brief musical interlude with Mr. Bernard Manning, and we had a slightly more serious interview than normal. So I think we've had a bit of something for everyone. Now let's see how the man in the audience thinks it's going. Please welcome Mr. Leslie Crowther. Leslie, come on down. They're really enjoying themselves tonight, aren't they?
Yes, they are.
Yeah,
I think they're having one of Chekhov's funny periods.
We won't go into that. Now, The Price is Right. What's happening with The Price is Right? Because one minute it seems like there's not going to be another series, and there is another one. Is it coming back?
Yes, it is. We start next Friday at 7 o'clock.
Do you still enjoy making it?
I love it. I love the people, and if it ever does stop, then I shall miss the audiences and meeting the contestants. I just love the whole thing.
Yeah, I enjoy watching it, I've got to tell you, but then I'm a 3-2-1 fan, so what do I know?
Oh, she'll cut herself on that tongue of hers one of these days.
I know you collect something very unusual. You have an unusual collection.
Yes, I do. I collect pot lids.
That's a kind of strange thing to collect. What are they, pot lids from, like, potty lids or jars?
No, nothing to do with that. No, they're... No, on mature reflection, they are nothing to do with that. They are lids of pots that contained bear's grease and fish paste and meat paste. And they were used as a gimmick, rather like cigarette cards. You'd they printed these marvellous Victorian designs on the lids, and people would collect the lids. They'd buy the product, they'd eat the product, and then they'd frame the lids, and
they'd frame the lids? Oh, boy.
It worked.
Are they pretty?
Riveting stuff.
Is it an expensive collection? Is it?
Yes.
Oh, there you go. Now, I know you started off as an actor, didn't you, before...
That's right.
Do you ever fancy returning to acting? Do you think there's a...
Well, I don't know. My first job was the first watchman in Much Ado About Nothing, which just about described my performance in 1912, Fast Asleep. And, yes, I would. I'd love to go back to... I'd like to do situation comedy, I'll tell you.
Because I remember one of my favourites, I think it was a seminal show of the 70s, was My Good Woman.
That's right.
What a corker that was.
It was good, wasn't it?
No, they've never repeated that, and I often wonder why. I'd like to see that again. It's one of my favourites. It really is.
Yes, I wonder why as well. I think they're probably trying to tell us something.
They are. Well, do you have any ambitions left? I mean, you're obviously happy doing The Price is Right. Are there things you'd like
yes,
to have
my great ambition is just to keep on working, because I like working. That's what I'm in the world for. I like being in the business.
Now, we have a new guy in charge of Channel 4, Michael Grade, who I believe used to be your agent.
That's right.
Is that right?
Michael,
What a...
He was my agent, he was.
Was he a good agent?
He was very good indeed. No, he was an excellent agent, and he's risen. He used to take 10% of my earnings, or as he put it, I took 90% of his. And he was a good lad. He's a good lad.
So presumably you know him quite well. You know.
Yes, I do. I know him very well.
What do you think? We're obviously, well, basically, we're making no bones about it. We're just all out to please him in a desperate and sad way. Do you think he'd like the show the way it stands at the moment?
Well, yeah, yes.
Do you think maybe there are things we could change to get bigger ratings and bigger figures? That's what we're after, really, Leslie.
What do you really mean that you want advice from an old pro like me?
I would love some. That's why we've...
And advice as well.
And advice.
Would you like advice from an old pro who's been in the business for over 40 years?
I don't know. I'm having second thoughts, actually. No, yes, I would. Yes, I would.
An old pro... Where are you?
We're really going to get some letters about this one, Leslie, you know.
That's what I'm working on. An old pro who's done everything from pantomime to game shows, an old pro who... That's what you want, isn't it?
That's what I want.
Yes.
That's what I need.
Yes, you need something. And an old pro who's absolutely besotted with the whole idea of helping you. An old pro who's not ashamed to admit that he dyes his hair.
That's it. That's exactly what I need.
Where can we get Bob Monkhouse at this time of night?
Now, Leslie, if we can't find Bob, mate, could you find it in your heart to give me some fatherly advice?
Coming.
Leslie, I said fatherly.
I'm doing my best. Now, please, listen. Will you trust me?
Yes. I don't think I have a lot of choice left now. Yes, I will.
Will you accept everything I say without demur?
Everything.
Good. Well, I think we'll take a short commercial break there, and we'll see you in a few moments.
With your nice cup of tea. Sit back in your chair and now you'll see a bit for the mums, a bit for the dads, there's some for the ladies and some for the lads. Now don't waste your time thinking of a retort. Just tune in to part 2 of your fave Last Resort.
Welcome back to the show you just love to love. And what a lovely first up, what a wonderful audience. And as you can see, we've changed the set slightly, I've changed my outfit. Leslie, do you think there's anything else we should change?
Oh, well, on your own head be it, mate, but honestly, you look absolutely average. It is a sensational look. I mean, John Scofield would be absolutely... Look
I
at
think
that.
I can feel more people turning on already.
Yes.
Anything I should do? Is there anything else I can add to make myself more popular?
Well, yes, I think probably open the legs a bit more, perhaps. That's it. Hand on the hip, casually.
Kind of like this, is this? Is that better?
Well, you've turned one of the cameramen on, that's a dead cert. Perhaps a smile?
Bit of a smile?
Yeah. Wider. Wider.
That kind of thing?
Why, that's excellent.
They're good?
Wider. Very good. That's it.
Kind of
That's
strange,
it.
yeah.
Isn't it good?
Anything else you should do? Should I talk to the cameraman? Or
No, not the cameraman. You ought to ingratiate yourself with the audience, you see, really.
Do I really have
what
to?
you do is you cast a professional eye over the audience and
Yeah.
you pick out one guy or a girl and you chat them up, make them feel at home.
And they like it, do they?
I absolutely love it.
Okay, well, let's do some of this then.
Yes, this guy over here, for instance, yeah.
Okay.
Graham.
I don't have to get too close to them, do I?
No, wait, it's all right. They don't bite, you know.
I just don't like members of the public.
No, come here. What you have to do is to say something to him, something witty if possible.
Hello, you look very fat.
Sorry, Graham.
People laugh, didn't they, Leslie?
Yes. Of course, they did laugh. They were terrible. I'm sorry, Graham. I mean, well, I don't know, I'm enjoying this, but no, you're all right. No, if you're going to be a bit cheeky, you've got to be witty with it as well, you know. You say, I'm sure you're a lovely fellow. After all, they don't put bay windows on a shit house, you know. You've got to be really witty.
Kind of pithy, that's what you mean.
Oh, pithy as well, if you like, yeah.
Shall I try another?
Yes, I think so. How about this lovely lady here?
Okay, how about, are you fat as well, or have you just got very big breasts?
I think we've got it. You're right, though.
Well, I'm getting on all right with the audience.
Well, you are, actually. Now, excellent. But the content of the show...
Yeah?
How about... Don't do that, for God's sake. The content of the show. How about the other guests? Who have you got?
Well, right. Now, tonight we've got some music coming up from the avant-garde composer Philip Glass. That's... No. Well, we're flexible. We have Melvin Bragg. That's going to be a kind of intelligent...
Thank God I made a few phone calls. How about a catchphrase?
No.
That's what you want.
That'd be good. Now, you have several, don't you, Leslie? You have Come On Down.
Oh, hey, look at that. Isn't that good?
Years working under the covers in the bedroom at night.
I'm sure we don't want to know about that.
And you also have, there's Cracker Jack you have from your...
Yes, indeed. They are far too young to remember. They must have been in their nappies.
A long time ago.
Yeah.
And you have Bernie the Bolt, don't you? That was one of yours, wasn't it?
No, it was not one of mine.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, do you think I should get one myself?
I should.
Well, you can help me choose, because we just so happen
yes.
that we've got a device over here that can help me select the catchphrase.
What?
And the lovely Judy's going to bring it on for us.
Judy Bailey, one of our lovely hostesses from The Price is Right.
Now, we have several here we can choose. The kind of sort of thing I think the audience would probably like. It's like, risque, yes, but never crude. Not with my big bottom. Phew, what a mouthful. It's kind of a political one, that one, isn't it? Large lumps are lovely. I wonder what that could mean. What do you think? Woo, woo, what a tomato. I like that one. Don't you?
Yes.
Oh, no, Mrs. No.
Don't understand that.
You think that's a whopper?
That's advertising.
And Sultana time. Boy, that would really catch on.
I tell you what, it's a wheel that's incredibly fair. It's a random spin.
Judy, give us a spin now and see how we go. You've done that before, haven't you? That's it, yes. Well, there you go. Look, by some lucky coincidence, it stopped on. So one I really fancied. Woo woo, what a tomato. Now, let's...
That is unbelievable.
Especially I hadn't even asked them to do it yet.
Oh, brilliant.
All right, well, every time I say that, that's going to be dead easy to slip into conversation now.
I think so, yeah.
Woo woo, what a tomato. I like that. Yeah, I can see this is going to plague me. It'll be big on the terraces tomorrow, won't it? Well, let's get on then. Thank you very much, Judy, if you want to wheel off. Woo woo, what a tomato.
Oh, excellent.
Yes. Yeah.
Excellent stuff. I like it.
So
well,
now I've got the catchphrase.
Yes.
I've got the outfit.
You've got the lot.
Now, you weren't crazy on Philip Glass.
No, but I have got some... I have actually made some phone calls because I anticipated this, and I've got some great guests for you.
Kind of right for a big figure.
Superb musical artist.
Well, who do we have?
And, well...
I'll intro him?
Please.
OK, well, it's a guy that we have actually had on the show before. He's a very nice guy.
No, you've got to sell it. You've got to sell it.
Do you want to show me
You've got
how?
to do it sincerely and you've got to sell it. I only met this guy earlier today and the audience are going into hysterics because they've just seen
Well, Leslie, show me how a master would do it.
He is absolutely great, one of the greatest singers in the world and a lovely fellow. Will you welcome the one and only Donny Osmond?
Donny Osmond.
When a man loves a woman, can't keep his mind at the end. He changed the whole world for what he's got. If she is bad, he can see it. She can do nothing wrong. Turn his back on his best friend if he ever put her down. Oh, when a man loves a woman, spend his very last dime trying to hold on to what he needs. He'd give up all of his possessions, stand out in the cold pouring rain. That's the way it's got to be. You see, this man loves you, woman. Give you everything I ever had. Trying to hold on your high class love. So baby, baby, please don't treat me bad. When a man loves a woman deep down in his soul, she can leave so much misery. Yeah, she plays the fool. He's the last one to know. 'Cause love in eyes they never see. When a man loves a woman, never let her down. 'Cause there's no other woman. When a man loves a woman, I know exactly how he feels. Baby, baby, baby. I'm a man.
Well, it's nice to see you again, Donny.
Thank you.
Nice to do you see the show's gone a bit upmarket since last time you did it?
Yes, it's a little better.
But I see you're wearing you're wearing jeans, Donny.
Why not?
Kind of a bit of a tougher image for you here.
I like it.
What's this I heard on the radio that maybe you're thinking of changing your name. Is that right?
Well, I think it was either Steve Wright or Bruno or one of the guys on Radio 1 mentioned that I might change my name.
What did they think you were going to change it to?
I don't know. He said something like...
something tough, like Spig Ockett or something. It was
yeah,
odd,
something
wasn't
like that. Something
Dick
like
Sprocket or something like that.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
I think you should stick with Donny Osmond. And
So?
the new single's out at the moment, isn't it?
Yes.
When's the album finished?
It's done now, but I'm just waiting back a little
But don't forget to send me a free CD. Thank you very much, Donny Osmond.
Thank you.
Lovely.
You know, I'm beginning to feel really into the groove now. I think I'm really getting a handle on all this showbiz stuff.
Yeah, right.
Now I know the last guest. You think I could try to intro them, perhaps?
You must.
Okay, this
You
is
must.
the show then. Well, our final guest this evening, not only are wonderful human beings and wonderful close showbiz friends of mine, and I mean this really sincerely, but it's an honour and a privilege to have them on the show tonight. Is that the kind of stuff you think?
I think I'm going to be sick. No, what you ought to do is what you always do, and that's do everything beautifully, honestly, and well.
I think I'm going to be sick. Leslie Crowther, thank you very much indeed.
God bless you.
Thanks, Leslie. Leslie. But yeah, it is time to meet our final guests tonight, and they are nice. So would you please welcome the Beverley Sisters.
lipstick all over.
I had Leslie pouring me earlier, and you three now. I don't know whether I'm coming or going. I
Can
really
you
don't.
manage the three of us?
Maybe later, I don't know. But it's nice to see you. You dressed up for the evening, and you're looking nice.
Just informal. You too. You look very cute.
Thank you very much. Now, let's go right back. How did you first get started?
Oh, gosh, that
We
is
were
long.
little evacuees during the war, you know, little evacuee kids. And someone from the BBC spotted us and put us on the air. Then television. We came in when television was in its infancy.
Right.
And we were.
Right, yes.
Now you're really right back to live television, if you can handle it.
So it's kind of in its puberty, I suppose, isn't it? Which is why...
Oh, no, don't say any rude words with Joy. You have to spell
you're
them
a
for
naughty.
Joy.
You must be a naughty boy.
We shall spank you later.
You can spell them for Joy.
People
like
pay for that kind of thing, you know. Is it true?
Very naughty.
I think Leslie would probably pay for it.
later.
Is it true that you never had any singing lessons?
No.
That's true.
No. But our parents were in the theatre, so...
So you kind
That's in the family.
You got it from them?
And our three daughters singing.
It's in the genes, you know.
In Donny's genes, probably.
It comes through, yeah. It comes through the genes.
Now, when you were in America, I know you were big hits out there. Did you ever think of living out there, working out there?
Yes, we did. Oh, not for long,
But
not
our
for long.
parents-
No, we were very homesick. We
She
love
was
this
homesick.
country, wanted to come home.
Our parents, our father thought the beer was too cold.
In America?
Didn't like the cold beer.
Yes.
And I hear you offered some movies when you were out there.
We did. They
Why-
gave
why
us a
did- why did
huge
you do that?
contract.
7-year contract.
Huge contract. Babs doesn't even remember it.
Didn't you? What kind of drugs were you doing then, Babs? Was anything going on?
Ribena.
Ribena only.
Ribena's Babs.
So why didn't you accept? Didn't you want to make films?
We were, you see, a contract doesn't really specify any particular fee for you, and we were earning big money. We were
Television was the big exciting thing then, not films.
We were the highest paid female
No,
actor in the
besides,
world.
you didn't want to get tied down for 7 years. That was a long, long time when
To be
you're
tied
young.
down, it is, yes.
When you're young, that's a long time.
It's even longer when you're old.
Sorry, I'll stop you now.
It's been
But speaking of being naughty, I read an old newspaper cutting new. It was the News
You
of the
should
World.
have black socks on with that, not
You
white
should.
ones.
Black silk socks.
Thanks a lot. Well, you were supposed to be my friends.
Friends?
Friends.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it's so sexy. Friends. Lovely, isn't it?
It's going to be like that, is it, girls? OK, the News of the World, this old cutting, it accused you of sexual innuendo.
Yeah.
Surely
We were always
not.
being banned. We were outrageous in our day.
Like you were a little bit naughty.
What kind of things did you do that were naughty then?
We used to sing very topical.
And we used to wear
cheeky.
dresses with big holes in the middle. And of course, in those days, you weren't allowed to have a belly button.
Kind of like... Well, what did people have instead?
Nothing. Oh, no, that was filthy. You mustn't
That
have
must
a
have
belly
been fun. I must meet someone from that period.
Well, we
'cause-
had there was a big scandal in the 50s about
Yeah.
a certain lord who got into a bit of trouble with some
Carrying on,
some
three Boy Scouts.
Boy Scouts and things.
And on the way to the theatre, so the Palladium, we would write the lyric, you see.
And we had
What was
one.
that?
I hate men.
Crash.
Oh, yes.
I can't abide them even now and
I
then.
wish you'd sung this before you came on the
We
show.
like to choose our boyfriends from a class that's known as upper. We do our best to charm them, but our plans they always scupper. If only we were 3 Boy Scouts, they'd take us out to supper. Oh, I hate men.
Yeah.
Crash!
Something's never changed. The old laws are still out
But
there.
I mean, that was banned.
That was banned, you
Everything
see.
was banned. The frocks were banned.
Everything we enjoyed, we were just normal, natural, spunky
Boy
girls.
Scouts were banned.
And it was all banned. We had to be very pure.
Haven't
Yes.
got the freedom you've got now, you see, to be
But we
naughty.
were
But
very
then Madonna's only doing the same things you were, showing her stomach.
Yes.
Well,
She
we did.
thinks she invented the belly button, you see.
But we did look like 3
Salome did it before we did.
We did look like 3 fairies on a Christmas tree. Then.
She's on next week, by the way. She's...
Salome.
No, we couldn't get her. She wants to do Wogan. Now, how did your fans behave back then? What were they like? Were they like the Beatles fans? Did they go crazy?
No, they didn't. They weren't like that. But they've remained. They haven't. They devoted all
Remained
these
very
years.
loyal.
Yes,
Yes.
they're very loyal English
Audiences
fans.
were marvellous.
We grew up with them. They grew up with us.
And what about your new fans? Because now you're back and you're performing
Yeah,
again.
youngsters.
doing those.
Even youngsters.
What kind of
we've
fans do you
got
have now?
Quite a range of people.
quite a
Old
lot.
people, youngsters.
They sit at the start of the stage smoking the older.
Sitting on each other's
I don't know what you're
shoulders.
talking about. I really don't.
Little black girls like us, don't they?
They do.
Come up and say, you're wonderful.
Well, that really is remarkable, isn't it? There's a turn up on the books. Now,
They
one
like
thing I
you
like
too.
about you,
They
I'd
like
like to
you
think so.
too.
I've been
Listen,
looking for a week.
our daughters like you.
Do they? Right, well, listen,
here
one thing I like
tonight.
about you girls is...
they are.
One thing I love about you, you always have fun no matter what you're doing. You always seem to have a good time.
Yes, we do.
Yes.
Have you ever noticed when you're really having a good time?
Yes.
Have you noticed?
I don't have many, but yeah.
It's either illegal.
Occasionally,
Yes. It's immoral.
hopefully.
makes you fat.
I thought it was my glands.
It's illegal, it's immoral, or it makes you fat. Oh, it really doesn't matter what you're aiming at. If it's something you enjoy, you can be certain that it's illegal, it's immoral, or it makes you fat. There are many philosophers who will agree that the best things in life are absolutely free. But you're bound to find out before you go too far. If it happens to be fun, the chances are it's illegal, it's immoral, or it makes you fat. Oh, it really doesn't matter what you're aiming at. If it's something you enjoy, you can be certain that it's illegal, it's immoral, or it makes you fat. Now ain't that too darn bad?
Very much, the Beverley Sisters.
What a tomato!
Woo woo, what a tomato!
What a banana!
I've still got it.
Woo woo, what a banana!
What a banana! Oh, behave yourself.
Hello? Yes. Get me Tarby.